Hey folks, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Saurabh Pol. Welcome to Polkeball. Today I'm going to talk about how the Canada dream is almost over for most Indians, especially young Indians. And this was coming for a while. This had to happen in 2017, 2018, I would say. Almost every man and his dog in India was saying that we'll emigrate to Canada or wherever they felt that, anywhere in Canada, essentially. It didn't matter whether you were educated, uneducated, highly educated, it didn't matter. I mean, people from all across, all walks of life wanted to emigrate to Canada, right? Usually, Canada saw influx of immigrants from India, from North India, for the longest time. Punjab se log jate the, and it was a great relationship, right? Like there are so many Punjabis who are in the Canadian government, of all stripes, right? Conservative or liberal ho, you would always find Punjabis over there. They have done so well over the decades, like over the decades. So ekdam best chalu tha ekdam. And then suddenly, I think in 2014, 15 types, like they opened the gates a bit too liberally, is what most people say now. And back then it was like, okay, they're opening the gates, and that is because they need like millions of people because their labor market is too small, and so on and so forth. And they literally said, there would be a population collapse if we don't take people, and so on and so forth. And they had a points based system for immigration. And I remember growing up, like people spoke about Canada. It was like the polite cousin of United States of America, right? Like it was a cold country, and so on and so forth. And that's all you heard of that place. And it's beautiful, and so on and so forth. It's amazing. It's Canada, right? And now that's the thing. You do all this, and suddenly you realize that okay, most people want to immigrate to the US or to Europe, but since 2008, Europe is not exactly taking a lot of people. UK especially really stopped taking people in the mid 2000s, especially from India, right? So most people are like, okay, we'll keep going to the US, but what are we going to do? Due to a lot of things. I think 2015 onwards, US also kind of stopped being like a go-to destination for a lot of Indians, at least from a legal perspective, right? It was like many people were like, oh, we are not sure वहाँ पे job मिलेगा कि नहीं. It's not as easy as it once was, and so on and so forth. Or it's like, yeah, the tuition fees used to be around 25, 30 lakhs. Now they're at 70, 80 lakhs. So they are doubled and all, right? So because of all this, many people are like, हम Canada जाएंगे, Canada जाएंगे. And I was like, what the hell? Like, and then suddenly you check Facebook, and back then people used to use Facebook, and you checked Instagram, and every alternate guy, okay, in your friend circle, people who you grew up with, people who you met 2 years ago, people who are senior to you, people who are junior to you, people who are classmates, colleagues, acquaintances, relatives, friends, frenemies, enemies, they're all going to Canada. And you're like, what is going on? I mean, chal kya raha hai? Like, can anyone go to Canada? Like, your smart friends went to Canada, your dumb friends went to Canada. I mean, your okay-ish people went to Canada, and I was like, कि यार ये हो क्या रहा है? Like what exactly is happening? And then I spoke to a few friends of mine, right? And people who like me, I mean, literally, the alarm bell started ringing for me when my friends from Premier MBA institutes, right? They were like, "हम जाएंगे Canada." And then I was like, "What? What are you guys doing going to Canada?" Right? This is like, okay. I mean, I'm not saying India is amazing and all. Like, half my videos are about complaining about how we can do so much better in India, right? And then it's like, what are you going to do there? नहीं हम वहाँ पे प्यार करा लेंगे फिर देखा जाएगा. I was like, guys, what are you going to do there? Seriously, what are you going to do there? I mean, what? मतलब, are you sure you're going to get a job in your own field? Are you sure about that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. देखा जाएगा and this and that. We are going to go there to study, and once we study, we get a PR, and then we'll search for a job, and we should get it. I was like, really? And what are you going to study? And like, what exam are you giving? And apparently, the exam was only TOEFL, which is like an English proficiency test. And that kind of rung some alarm bells for me, right? Where I was like, I'm sorry, what is happening? Like, people are just going to Canada by giving an English proficiency test, and they're going to some college, and all I am seeing is them partying their balls off every alternate day in Canada, right? Like, I'm opening my Instagram, and people are just partying over there. And these are people who were earning like 20, 25,000 rupees a month in India. Okay, with all due respect, like my first salary was 14,000 a month, right? Like, who the hell am I to judge other people and their salaries, right? And like, not so long ago, I was earning 14,000 a month. So, but I was like, यार ये इतना बड़ा जंप कहाँ से हो रहा है यार? यहाँ पे तो साथ में बैठ के रॉयल स्टैग पीता था मैं इस आदमी के साथ, मतलब इसके पास पैसा नहीं था, to go above and beyond. Like, how is this guy in Canada? With all due respect, I'm not saying people don't deserve to go outside. I'm saying ki, okay, how did this jump happen? I hope they know what they're doing, and I definitely hope they haven't taken a loan. You know, um, you can take a loan if you have income, but without that, what are you doing? And when I actually saw, right, I saw it then. I was a bit concerned because I mean I was a bit concerned for my friends. I was like, I hope they know what they're doing, right? And most of them did well. So I was very happy for them. And they're like, come over, this is a great country, everyone's nice over here. Jobs ka thoda scene hai, but if you work hard and so on and so forth, and you apply and all, you give multiple interviews, you will get it. I'm like, okay, cool, this sounds good. But I remember my parents were also like, hey, if there's an opportunity, why don't you see? I was like, no, not really. My reason for not going anywhere abroad out of India is purely because, and I mentioned this before, is like I'm too much of a coward in the sense that I know I'll get lonely. Because outside of India, you don't have this incredible, at times overbearing, most times overbearing, socially cohesive, setting. Okay, these are countries, most countries outside of India, outside like basically outside of Asia, I would say, you don't really have much of a community. Unless you have a good, well-set community, cool. But if you're too used to the warmth of our country and our culture, it's tough out there. And people like me, hyper extroverted people, and I don't say that as an achievement. It's not a badge of honor. It's a disability in a way because you're dependent on other people. Those places can be tough on you. So that was my reason for not going. And also another reason was like I saw some people, some questionable characters from the place I grew up in, and I was like, by questionable characters, matlab kuch illegal nahi. Matlab it's like this guy, what is he gonna do there? I'm sorry, but like he's not exactly an accomplished individual. Like last I remember he had like one job in the last 3 years, like literally one worked year, 1 year out of the last 3 years. The other 2 years he was just doing some random shit. I was like, what is he doing there? Okay, now that is when it really was like, okay, this is something weird is going on. And that was my assessment of the situation back then, right? And when my Premier MBA friends went, they got good jobs over there. They definitely got good jobs over there. And because obviously, right, like extremely highly qualified, very capable individuals can clear interviews and so on and so forth. So that was fine for them. But people who are just graduates and they went there and did some diploma and then they're out there and I'm like, ye log kya kar rahe hai yaar? And I have so many friends who have done so well and they call me from these high-rise towers and these beautiful bungalows. They live in Canada and I'm very happy for them, right? But then there are many more I know who are just like struggling to find jobs over there, right? So I was a bit concerned. I was like, that यार एक बार तो मुझे आया था कि a friend of mine, like in the long back, she messaged me that, hey, I know Paul, you have a lot of friends in Canada. There's another friend of mine, उसको job नहीं मिल रहा है. Can you forward her CV to other friends over there? I was like, how am I sitting in Mumbai advocating for someone in Canada getting a job? Like, what the hell is going on? I mean, that sip was not for dramatic effect, but I mean, it was crazy यार. Like मैं क्या करेगा उधर, उसको जॉब नहीं मिल रहा है. मैं इधर बॉम्बे का कंपनी में और इंडिया के कंपनी में मेरा पहचान है. I'll send in the CV. I'll put in a good word and so on and so forth. फिर मेरे को फोन कर रहा है, बोल रहा है कि अरे उसका वहां पे कुछ होगा तो देखना. Dude, I don't know how that's going to work out, but yeah, I heard a lot of such stories, right? And now what has happened is finally, there was a pushback because so many people went there legally, many illegally. People stayed back. Visa rules were flouted, and even the ones who went legally, uh, the welcome wore off because clearly Canada could not really absorb so many people coming in together. Right, the housing market went for a toss. सब कुछ महंगा हो गया वहाँ पे. Inflation really rose, and of course there were cultural tensions that were bound to arise. Because when you take in so many people and then you say that that there was not much. Every process should have some amount of friction. You get me? Every process should have some amount of friction because those friction points give you the time and the way to evaluate what is passing through that pipeline. You get what I mean? So I don't think there was enough friction in the process, and anyone who wanted to go could essentially go there. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I definitely should not go there, because then see, unless there is no barrier to entry, anyone can enter. I don't like to go to places without barriers to entry, right? So that is that I'm being very honest about it. Might sound wrong, but it is what it is, right? Like obviously, and why is it wrong? If you are going somewhere, you're taking a life decision, यार. आप मुंबई से बैंगलोर जाओगे, आप 10 बार सोचोगे, आप कहीं you're going to another continent. What are you doing? You're just leaving. So a lot of people who couldn't really hack it in India, they went to Canada, unfortunately, right? Like, and that's fine. You don't. India is a very difficult place, yeah. It's completely fine if you can't hack it in India. ऐसा कुछ नहीं एक तो like I don't think our culture has done well for young people any which ways, our country also in general. मतलब एक तो young people don't have cultural power, and like employment is a huge failure of the current government and all governments before this, right? Like for decades we have failed at it. Like I'm not part of any political party. I respect the prime minister, but other than that, nothing else, right? Like other than that, nothing else. I think there's a huge failure of the government that there is, of not generating employment, especially in the rural and semi-urban areas, right? Urban area में फिर भी हो जाता है, but if you are earning 25,000 in Bombay or Mumbai, sorry, it's like तू क्या मतलब कुछ नहीं है यार वो, that amount is nothing. 30,000-40,000 in Mumbai is nothing. Now you'll be like, hey, there are so many people who survive in that. Should they? Should they be doing that? Should we not afford them much more dignity and less hardship? Isn't this city tough enough? That's my point, right? And that is why so many people left abroad. And it was considered that, hey, it's a win win situation. The Canadians also wanted labor, so it worked out. But now things have really not worked out. There was a political pushback also, and people are coming back. And this is what I'm trying to show. And in fact, now they're back. There are literally so many people I'm talking to. They are like, कि bro, हमको कनाडा में रहना ही नहीं है, हम नहीं रह सकते यहाँ पे. I'm coming back to India to search for jobs. That's insane. And they're coming back with debt, by the way. Tighter work visa PR rules. Canada chapter closed. Indian students start afresh at home. So that is what it is. This is what we are looking at right now. This is from Times of India, right? And let me just try to reload this article a little bit. It's not really working out for me, but let me, okay, it's okay. I think this should work out. So as India and Canada cautiously rebuild diplomatic bridges, another reset is taking place. Lives of students once flocked there for better futures. Many are returning, weighed down by tighter visa rules, scarce jobs, and record high rents. Abandoning dreams of global careers, they now come home with lessons in survival and self-reliance. That is the thing. Some dude was like, I would start my day at 5 a.m. dropping off resumes at stores before college. After applying to more than 30 companies and landing only 2 interviews, he took up a line cook job and later worked part-time in a retirement home. My manager made me juggle two roles at once, cooking meals and manning the cash register. So many people went there just to take up odd jobs because they are like, because आपको ये सब जॉब करना पड़ेगा because आपको एक्चुअल जॉब जो चाहिए, जिस इंडस्ट्री में जो रोल चाहिए वो नहीं मिल रहा है. And when you are there, you'll have to work these odd jobs. You have to work these odd jobs. I mean, you're going all the way across over there. You thought you'll have an international career, but you're being a line cook. And you know what a line cook means? It means you're in a fast food chain. You're not even an actual cook, right? You're a fast food chain. और वहाँ पे ऐसे 5-6 लोग रहते हैं, एक फ्राइज डालता है, एक बर्गर डालता है, एक ये करता है, एक वो करता है. So it's like an assembly line of cooking something, right? So you're a line cook. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a line cook if you want to be a line cook. There's everything wrong with being a line cook if you have to rely on it to survive in a foreign country because what you want is not something what you are getting. That it becomes a problem, right? थोड़ा टाइम करने के लिए कोई इशू नहीं है, बहुत लोग करते हैं. It's part of the student culture over there. But when you are there for purely in terms of survival, it becomes a huge issue, right? I could not ask my parents for more money after they're already stretched themselves for my studies. Nasib, it's a good thing to know, when to quit. I was just working to survive and had nothing to show for all that work. He helps his father in the clothing business and is exploring opportunities in marketing because, of course, marketing is something which everyone can do, and we don't need any qualifications to become a marketer in this country. Dhruvi from Vadodara had her heart set on a healthcare career after earning a diploma in health regulation. She was thrilled to land an internship at the pharmacy at $19 an hour, not bad, but the joy was short lived. A restructuring cost her, and all the interns left. My savings ran out within a month. I started freelancing as a social media manager, again, marketing, because people in my field don't deserve respect, for a niche show, but none of it was enough for a longer permit or PR. By Feb 2025, she too returned home. In India, at least I have security, stability, and the comfort of family around me. Whew. I'm happy for these people that at least they're coming back home and it's not a shit show, right? Like at least they're safe and sound. Like listen, this video is not to gloat, okay? कि हाँ, you went there, आपको job नहीं मिला, आपका सपना पूरा नहीं हुआ and all. You should never do that, right? You should never do that. You should never disrespect people on that level. But what I want everyone to know from this is that it's not a cakewalk. And if there is no barrier to entry, there will always be more supply than there is demand. I mean, maybe they wanted 100 and we sent across 1,000 people. Even they accepted 1,000 people, right? Now, that's my point, right? Like, I mean, and if you go there and it didn't work out and you came back, it's fine, you know? I mean, there will be that mental struggle or that anguish of whatever happened, but at least you're back home. And as this lady said, right? She's like, मेरा घर है, मेरे माँ बाप संभाल रहे हैं मुझको. 40 years ago, that wouldn't have been the case, right? But then again, 40 years ago, like you would have still found a job in Canada. So there's that. There's these personal stories mirror a large exodus, which means a lot of people have left. Canada tightened its student entry rules. Now it's imposing national level caps on study permits, which means India से सिर्फ एक चंद लोगों को लिया जाएगा. So not everyone from India will get it. There will be a limit to how many Indians can get student visas over there. And these shifts have led to record high visa rejections and made permanent residency harder to attain. Even for those who stay, the job landscape is discouraging. I know that for a fact. I speak to people over there, my friends over there. The job market in Canada is not easy at all. So, a report said that 70% of Indian international graduates found work within 2 years, compared to 80% of domestic peers. But many, they say, are stuck in low paying service roles unrelated to their qualifications. That's the thing. That's the thing. So tough. It's so tough to be in India that people are like, bro, मैं वहाँ पे बैंक में टेलर बन जाएगा, मैं वहाँ पे फास्ट फूड मैकडोनल्ड्स में काम कर लूंगा, मुझे इंडिया में नहीं रहना. It's very tough. It's very tough for these people also. I They have my sympathy for a while, not a lot, a little sympathy. They definitely have a little bit of sympathy. Yeah. So there's that. Earlier you could study, work part-time, get PR and build a career. Now a lot of students can't even afford shared housing despite full-time work. Visa numbers from India have already fallen by 30%. It could go down by 50% next year. Yeah. There's another person who said, I applied everywhere, cafes, stores, warehouses, but nothing clicked for 7 months. Later moved to live with her cousin in British Columbia, juggling 2 to 3 jobs. Juggling 3 jobs to stay afloat. That sounds bad. That sounds bad. It's horrible. She was just surviving and not growing. She returned home in Jan 25 and since resumed her master's in journalism in Ahmedabad. Thankfully, not marketing, but still close. Saurav, a native of Bengaluru, studied applied computer sciences in Canadian University in Montreal. Once earned a comfortable corporate salary while manning the grills of a restaurant on his weekend, which is again fast food. Pandemic cost him both his jobs and his savings dwindled and the work permit extension was denied. I felt like I was whiling away my parents' hard-earned fortunes, which had taken them years to piece together, living in a country that I felt didn't want me. So, yeah, that is the sad part. And this is where I would, stop sharing that article because I think after a point, people also didn't want them, right? So that is exactly what happened over there, is what I kind of also understand, that it wasn't exactly warm welcome anymore. Too many people went in there. There was not enough of a quality check, and now they're like, hey, you got your degree, you can leave. And when they went there, they kind of had an understanding that, hey, you take a degree and then you'll get a job and you live over there and so on and so forth, right? But of course, it wasn't going to last. It's as simple as that. Like anywhere you see a lot of people going, it's it's there's a timer to it, because those people are going to exhaust those resources. There's nothing called as infinite resources. It just doesn't exist, right? And that was the problem, and that has caused a lot of problems in terms of our brand image also. By the way, Indians का नाम बहुत खराब हुआ है. If you honestly check out, the threads and forums on Reddit about Indians in Canada, I mean, we have in a lot of ways disgraced ourselves over there. Because like majority of the people who went, they're good people, right? But like few people who go, and our numbers are so huge, even a small percentage is a huge number, right? And that's exactly what happened, and that's the reality. And and now if you want to go to Canada, it's like, boss, you better go to the best institute, you know and you be one of the best students they could have, and maybe, just maybe, you will get to have a good job over there after you graduate from there, right? You can't go to those diploma mills, as they would call it, कि आ जाओ डिप्लोमा ले लो, 1 साल का, 9 महीने का जॉब वॉब मिल जाएगी आपको, एंड दिस एंड दैट. सारा वो इंस्टाग्राम पे स्टोरी वोरी पोस्ट वोस्ट आना बंद हो चुका है, you know and I mean, it had to happen. Frankly, it had to happen. Every man and his dog was going over there. They were also accepting. So yeah, that is what it is. So I wanted to talk about this for the longest time. In fact, I even did an episode with a friend of mine. I think it's still live. It's about life in Canada, how to get a visa, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's what it is. And unfortunately, there was a lot of visa abuse also. Right now, we can't control that. But yeah, if you're a young person and you're like, oh, I want to go abroad, I don't think Canada is the right place for you as of now, at least. And if you see, in general, yeah, rule of thumb, you want to go anywhere now. You want to go anywhere in your life, right? All you need to do is just ensure that it's a quality place, not a quantity place. ठीक है, घूम फिर के वो वही हो गया ना. It became a quantity space. मैं क्या बोलता हूँ हमेशा, quality over quantity. Okay, otherwise you will be in trouble. Either be very early, then if it's quantity, then be very early. Okay, then be very early. That's the only thing, and that's the thing, right? Most people don't know when something is early. So that's what it is. But anyway, I don't think so yeah, that Canada chapter, Australia and Canada were two countries people were going in the mid 2010s, and Australia was like, very quickly by 2017-18 they turned it off. They're like, okay, we can't take so many people, and they kind of turned it off. And I know many people who went to Australia, and they're doing well over there. It's a beautiful country. I keep going there again and again. I love Australia, right? But yeah, settling over there, getting a job over there is not easy at all, right? And they also didn't advertise ki come and get all these jobs, which in a way happened via some people, where there were so many of these travel agents and visa agents and all, कि जाओ जाओ ये मिल जाएगा, वहाँ पे ये बोल देना, वो बोल देना, and you do this diploma and ये मिल जाएगा, वो मिल. I mean, like, come on, man. Like, and the amount of loneliness many of my friends have faced over there, okay, it's insane. And of course, no country owes you friendship, by the way. You go there, you are a resident over there, not a permanent resident, a temporary resident. They'll be like कि okay, आओ काम करो, जो आपको दोस्त भी दे क्या, आपको वीजा के साथ आपको एक फ्रेंड भी मिलेगा क्या? I have friends who have struggled with loneliness over there big time. Big time. It's a very cold country. We are not people who live in cold environments, if you haven't noticed. So that is the reality. So yeah, anyway, that was that about India's Canada dream, young India's Canada dream. It has ended the way it had to end. It's not ended well, right? And hopefully when the next wave comes, we are much more smart about the way we go about it. Yeah. So anyway, folks, this was Polkeball. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think. Share your own experience and let me know. Take care. See ya. Bye.